Welcome back. We're back to catching up with Carson Etter. Carson, we've got a lot to discuss over the last couple of weeks, but before we kind of get into the on-track action a little bit more, try to tell us what you've been up to recently. Any interesting things in the life of Carson Etter in the last recent weeks? So you're pretty busy racing, like we've been
yeah.
right in mind. But anything else that you want to let the viewers know about what you've been up to?
Honestly, kind of just the normal routine. Been doing some physical therapy stuff on the shoulder, so getting that back in good shape. But just kind of the usual suspect, the training and sim, and kind of trying to keep myself in good shape for the race car. Nothing too interesting, but we're gonna get up to some good fun this weekend. My brother's having a bachelor party, so that'll be exciting.
I think being in a race car is pretty interesting anyway.
Yeah.
we'll go we're going to go in a bit of a wishy-washy order, but we'll just go back to the Indy 500 where we obviously last saw you. I remember seeing you on the grid. That was exactly a month ago today, in fact, which is kind of wild to think about.
Oh,
but,
wow.
Yeah, insane. But where were you for the race? What did you kind of think of it? Just what were all of your impressions of race day?
The race to start was wild. That's like the craziest Indy 500 I think I've seen in my lifetime. That was awesome to watch, but I got a pretty good viewing spot. I was sitting with the team in the engineering room, so kind of getting to see some like the behind the scenes stuff of what goes on during the race and the strategy stuff like that. So that was cool, but that finish was wild. Like that was so cool to watch.
Would you have any kind of big highlights from the month of May? Anything that you like? Because I know you were obviously pretty present at the track throughout the month. So any kind of big thing you took away from it all?
I mean, getting to learn a lot from just kind of hovering around the timing stands of the 8, 9, and 10 car was super helpful, and just kind of getting that like level of knowledge higher for in the event that we do get that chance to go drive an Indy car, we are not starting from zero. So getting to do some of that stuff was really helpful and kind of cool as a kid growing up watching Indy cars. So that was awesome. But I don't know, I'd say the highlight of my May was probably my really cool start in race one at IMSGP. I think that was probably my highlight. I think we were up like 12 spots after the first lap, so that was pretty cool. But I don't know. It was kind of just a busy month with the racing and everything. So I'd say Indy GP was probably our highlight.
Anything big you kind of learned from being around the timing stand? I know there's probably certain things you cannot divulge, but any bits that you kind of did learn that you feel like you would kind of be able to apply, whether to what you're doing now or if you did get that opportunity in the future, just any specific little bits and bobs?
I'd say the learning like some of the racecraft stuff that the IndyCar guys have to kind of work around when they're doing oval racing is something that I've kind of tried to apply towards mine, and I'll get into a little bit of that when we start talking about St. Louis. But getting to talk to someone like the spotters and the drivers and seeing how their racecraft is, and it's not oval isn't just like, okay, let's attack now, let's plan this like 4 laps ahead, like when, okay, we're gonna make that pass there, how can we set ourselves up to make that happen, kind of thing. So getting to kind of get more in depth with that racecraft and how I can apply that to my own racing was super helpful. But just like kind of learning what you want the car to do on an oval. Like obviously no scrub is good, but like how that's going to play out over the course of a race is something that was helpful for me as well.
We'll get on to the races in a minute's time, but you were on track yesterday at Milwaukee doing an oval test there ahead of your race later on in the year. So we'll get on to it a bit more later, but kind of just give us a brief overview of kind of how that test went and kind of what you got up to during the day it was running.
Oh, that was a tough one for me. I've few times in my life have I had such a difficult time mending with a car like that. Obviously, we know it was fast. I mean, my teammates were 2, 3, and 8 or something like that. So we know the car was quick, but I was just having a really hard time building that confidence to attack the corners because it's kind of an unorthodox oval. It's super flat. It's a little bumpy. It's not what like St. Louis or Nashville is like. So kind of getting my boots set in that was a little tough for me, but we learned a lot about what I like and don't like with the car. So that was helpful for the coming race weekend. But yeah, that one wasn't our brightest performance. I'll say that.
Now let's look back at Road America. Pretty much your best weekend of the year so far, results-wise. Got some silverware to take home with you, which is pretty cool too. But before we touch on that, I saw you doing some bar work on Friday. So what were your skills at the bar? Did you make a good impression of everybody? How did that go?
I will say I make a mean Captain and Coke. A mean one. So if you need a Captain and Coke dealer, I got you. Like, I can make a really good drink on that one. But no, I mean, it was really cool getting to just kind of interact with the fans. And that welcome party is always like one of the best welcome parties we have in the entire year. Like, everybody shows up for it. Everybody's super interactive with us drivers and the broadcasters and team staff and everything like that. So it's always super cool to be able to do that. And I think we did all right in the tip jar. Got to donate some good money to charity, and that I was super happy with that. But I mean, a lot of it was poured beers. I mean, the local favorite is Spotted Cow. Can't go wrong with that. So poured a lot of those, made some good drinks. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And coming to Indy next, you seem to get a lot more kind of these responsibilities or I say media commitments, fan commitments, whatever you want to call them. Have you had a favorite this year so far, which you've gone, well, this was completely unexpected, but really awesome?
Ooh. Favorite of the year? I mean, that one was pretty fun, if I'm going to be honest. Like, I would totally want to do that again next year. But that one was fun. And honestly, the autograph line at Indy GP was a lot of fun, too. I got a lot of gifts. Like, people were giving me stuff. Like, I got this little tiny race car. It's got a duck in it. I was like, okay, yeah, this is cool. But that was pretty fun. So I'd say those were probably my top two.
Nice. I guess we'll go through Road America, given it's kind of top of mind, most recent thing. So we'll start off with race one. Just talk us through it. Like, I think there was maybe one stage you were a bit far behind, and then you obviously made up all the places. You got the biggest mover award. So yeah, just how did that unfold for you? Just on race one.
That was a wild race. I mean, I think we only did like half the race in green flag laps, but we just kind of kept our nose clean. Got a little bit unlucky on some of the restarts on my part, but when we actually got to green racing, our pace was super quick, so I kind of just put my head down and charged forward as much as I could, and got some really good passes done, and some places we probably shouldn't have, but we made them work. So I saw the opportunity. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So made some really good passes there, and the race car at Road America was awesome. Like, that's probably the best race car we've had all year. So I was super happy with that. But I mean, getting the biggest mover was a little unexpected. Didn't really know where we were at kind of on track, but got off pit lane and they were like, oh, you're the biggest mover. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, nice. But yeah, no, it was a great weekend. Race one was just a little bit chaotic to start. And I think if we did a better job on the restarts, we would have had another probably 3 or 4 spots, but a little bit of a missed opportunity, but a good race for sure.
And I guess when you're in that position after qualifying and you know you're going to be starting kind of from the back of the field, what is the approach in terms of obviously wanting to get forward, but kind of balancing, trying to avoid all the chaos, basically? Kind of how do you approach it from there?
I mean, we knew we had a good race car coming into the race. So our goal kind of off the start was, okay, let's keep our nose clean. Let's avoid any possible contact we can. And when we get into that pace, we're going to go full attack. Like, let's put our head down and get to work. So, and that's kind of what we did. A little bit inoptimized, but we just kind of put our head down and went for it.
Has the biggest mover trophy got a home yet?
It does not yet. I have my hat here. Don't have that yet. So we'll see where we find a home for that.
Is it currently in the vicinity, or is it?
It is not in the vicinity. I think Indy Next still has it.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see what happens with that. But I got a hat from it, so that's cool.
Do you get the trophy back, or do Indy Next keep it for the next person?
I'm not sure, honestly. I want to say that they keep it, but I'm also not entirely sure. I have no idea how that works. Okay, so we'll see if I get something.
We'll try and find out.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's a bit unfortunate, especially on the double header. If you get it on race for race one, then you're kind of in ownership of it for 20 hours, and then
yeah, you get it and you head it off. Yeah.
Let's go on to race 2, and that was your best finish of the season so far. And kind of tell us what changes you made, not necessarily to the car, but maybe kind of in your preparation or how you approached the race kind of overnight. And same as you did for race 1, just to give us a rundown of kind of what happened there.
Well, it was kind of like the same thing. We knew we had a good race car. I made a little bit of tweak with the car, just kind of helped me with that aero wash balance. But we knew we had a really fast race car, and we were praying to God that there was going to be more than 9 green flag laps, and there were. So that was great. But we had really strong pace starting the race. Then I had an unfortunate contact that was on my part with my teammate that I shouldn't have tried to do that. Just kind of like that aggression in the race. So I want to keep charging forward got a little bit ahead of me, but something that I've definitely learned from, and it's helping me as a race car driver. But we got a little bit unlucky with that one, had a broken front wing, came into box, got a new wing, and prayed for a yellow, and we got that yellow. So that was awesome. But when that yellow came out, I had saved a bunch of my push to pass left. So we sprayed it on that last lap. I just dumped the entire button, and we ended up, I think, getting 5 spots on that last restart that slingshot us forward a good chunk. So that was good. But our pace the whole race was awesome. I think I was on for the fastest lap of the race on the lap that it went yellow, which was a little bit of a bummer, but I mean, the pace was still there, so I was happy with it.
And kind of interesting on teammate contact. I know everyone always kind of speaks about that being the golden rule, that you don't hit your teammates. So when something like that happens, what are the conversations that happen afterwards? How do you kind of just iron it out, make sure there's no animosity in there, and that you all kind of can just move on from it?
Personally, I think it's just about taking ownership. I think some people struggle with that a little bit because race car drivers are usually about the same. They want to charge forward. They want to get as high up as they can. And sometimes when things like that happen, they won't exactly take ownership. But I will admit, in the heat of the moment, I did not think it was my fault. But going back on it and looking at the onboards and the data and stuff like that, I will take ownership for that one. It was a bad decision on my part. It was another one of those things where it was like, okay, I see an opening, I'm going to try to take it. And it was just something I got a little bit too aggressive with. So I will own up to that one. And after discussions with the team and my teammate, we're good now. We're on good terms. We understand that it was my fault, and it's something that I've learned from, and we're just going to kind of put our head down and focus on the next weekend.
So as we kind of said earlier, this was your best result of the year, your best 2 finishes of the year at Road America. You obviously got equal that at Gateway as well. So 3 races in a row, you've had your 3 best results of the year. So what would you maybe account to results improving over time? Is it a case of you're just getting more comfortable with the car? Is it the team are gradually improving? Is it a combination of both? Just tell us maybe how we're seeing those results pick up, how that is happening.
Well, I can definitely say us as an entire team, we're all improving. Like, the pace from race to race is significantly improving as we go along the season, and it's awesome. Like, having that strong pace in the car is giving me and my teammates the confidence to go push that car harder and try to fight and qualify better. So that's been awesome. But I mean, as for me, I've definitely been getting more comfortable with the race car and finding that edge and being able to stay there for a longer period of time and doing it comfortably. So that's been very helpful as well. But yeah, I mean, us as an entire team, we're improving at a pretty quick pace, and I think it's catching some other teams on the grid off guard. So it's good to see.
So let's pivot on to Detroit. We know it's probably one of the more difficult weekends that you've had so far this year, and it's a track you never would have driven previously. So when you go to a new street course, especially one which is so tight and so bumpy and so narrow, kind of how do you find that limit of extracting time but not pushing it too much or in the barrier? And what is the challenge of doing that? Is there anything that helps it to make that easier? Just tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, that I will say that is probably the most difficult road course or street course I've been on in terms of the track conditions. But I mean, finding the limit at that track was a difficult one for us. We were struggling a little bit to find the pace in the car in practice and qualifying, but we kind of found it pretty good in qualifying. And when I had that incident in qualifying, we were on for a lap that I think would have put us P7. So that was really frustrating, especially 3 laps from the timeline. So that one kind of ate at me for a little bit, but I mean, that whole weekend we had been struggling with a little bit of a shoulder injury. So that one wasn't exactly ideal, but I mean, it was one of those things where it was obviously new for me. So finding that edge and staying there was tough, especially at a track that is so tight like that. The bumps don't really affect me too much. I mean, I think my dirt background helps out with that a little bit, but now the tightness of the track was something that I wasn't really expecting, and I don't think the sim really did justice on how tight it was. But found out real quick on that first lap when I went out there. I was like, okay, this is really tight. So it was a tough weekend, but it was one that we can look back on and we can take both our positives and negatives away from it.
So we are currently actually in IndyCar, obviously seeing a few drivers driving with injuries. So I guess when you're kind of doing that, whether it's a serious injury, whether it's a kind of smaller thing, how do you kind of mitigate it? And what is that mindset in terms of not thinking, okay, I'll just take the weekend off, and obviously wanting to try and plow through it?
Well, I mean, it's a very fine line between overdoing it and underdoing it is what I've learned from my experience with injuries. It's tough to fight through, but that's where I think people show their character and how they can fight through it. I mean, obviously it depends on the severity of the injury, but you're seeing guys like Newgarden who's driving with his ankle messed up, and same with Rossi, and I don't remember who it was who had the hand injury, but
Grosjean.
Yeah, Grosjean. I think it shows the driver's true character and how they're able to overcome their individual circumstances.
And I guess in terms of overcoming adversity, you obviously speak about the crash you had in qualifying in Detroit. So when you have a crash, and not just specific to Detroit, kind of just generally, like in terms of getting back in the car, not necessarily a fear element, but what is that process of just getting back up to speed, trusting it again, and kind of just everything from that point onwards?
Well, that one was a little bit easier for me because I knew the car had the pace, and that was purely a me problem. Like I didn't drive that corner correctly, so that one was a little bit easier for me. But when you have a car that might not be the right balance, and you have a moment where it's like you almost go but you don't fully go, then coming back to it's a little more timid. But I mean, if it's one of those things where if you know you have the car to do it, and it was like something like you just made a mistake and it resulted in that, then it's something that's a little bit easier. But that qualifying incident was a little bit easier to come back and attack due to the state that our car was in. So, but like, I'll give you an example. At Milwaukee, I had a code brown in turn 4, like full sideways for like 300, 400 feet or something like that. And coming back those next few laps, I was like, okay, let's take it a little easier this time. But yeah, those are just kind of some examples of it all depends on kind of how the car is in, like what shape it's in.
And obviously race day in Detroit as well was a little bit more difficult. So what were some of the challenges maybe you were battling, some of the things you took away from that? Obviously, I know you mentioned the injury maybe limiting you a bit, but what were just your takeaways ultimately from that weekend?
I'd say the takeaways from that weekend is our race pace was really strong, but we need to kind of get down that one lap pace. Our race pace, the entire race was really solid. That track is just so tough to pass at. It's almost like you have to set it up like an oval. Like you have to plan out when you're going to make that pass and where you're going to do it. So a little bit of that aspect was getting around people and doing it in a manner where it's not going to hurt us more than help us. We might get by that guy, but we're going to be so far back from the guys ahead of them. So a little bit of that aspect was something that I was struggling with, and I had a little bit of a mistake on like 2 or 3 laps left or something like that in Detroit, where I just got a little too excited on the throttle pedal and just had a little bit of a spin. But yeah, I'd say overall our race pace so far this year has been really strong. So that's something we've been able to take away from just about every weekend.
And I know after the Indy GP, you were generally a bit happier at performance, even the results didn't necessarily show it. But then you go to Detroit, you have a more difficult weekend with all these issues you've spoken about. So how do you put a weekend like that behind you, where ultimately maybe you're a bit more confident heading into the race, you've kind of taken a setback afterwards? So what's kind of the process of rebounding and rebuilding after that point?
I mean, it all comes down to being a goldfish, honestly. Like, regardless of the result of the previous weekend, you just kind of have to throw that out the window and focus on what you're going to focus on. So, I mean, you go from a good weekend to a bad weekend, or like good example is Road America. You have a good weekend and then you go into Milwaukee and you struggle. It's just you don't have to worry about clearing your head because it's something that we've already been working on. It's just you need to forget that, okay, the day's over, let's go to the next one. Let's focus on the next one the second you get back home and you're getting ready. So it's just having that short-term memory is helpful for race car drivers.
Okay, let's go from one end to the IndyCar spectrum, a tricky street course, to the other end, high speed, short over a gateway. So I think we called it last time, it's a proper over race. It's not Lucas Oil Raceway. You have got some banking and there's a bit more going on there. So your first thoughts of, let's say, your proper over race, kind of what were the big challenges of it going into the weekend? Kind of what did you learn? Just tell us about racing on a high speed over for the first time like that.
Honestly, that was so much fun. Like, that race was awesome, but just totally messed up in qualifying under my own power. That one really irritated me. But again, our race pace was really good. Like, I think we were running top 10 lap times the entire race, so that was good. But first thoughts of a proper oval is I think they're a lot of fun. Like, I'm super excited for Nashville. I can't wait for that because that's like a big oval. We're almost never lifting. Like, it's going to be fun. And now that I've gotten to find my bearings on a real oval, I think the next real oval like Nashville is going to be even better. So I'm excited. I like the oval so far.
People obviously always speak about kind of the racing being the tough part, but also qualifying. There's a certain pressure there in terms of the spotlight being on you, 2 laps to get it done. So just talk about qualifying and kind of the challenge of that specifically and nailing those 2 laps.
It's tough. And because of the short window that you have to do those results, it makes it even tougher. Now, if it was something like road course where we had, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes to go do that average, and we have as many laps as we can in that window, like it'd be a different story. But because we only get 2 laps to really show our speed, it's tough. And then you go from, okay, maybe your car balance in practice wasn't good, so we're going to make a change and hope it's right for those 2 laps. And then you're kind of coming in a little bit blind, like, I don't know what to expect. And that was a little bit of the case where we were at in qualifying, is we were lacking a little bit in practice, so we made a change, and the car for qualifying ended up being sick. Like, I was like, okay, this is really cool, but it took me till the last lap to figure that out. So it was just like having that trust that your car is going to do what you need it to do in those 2 laps is tough. It's mentally and physically tough to be able to trust that.
One of the many things we do also at Indianapolis was watch the USF races at Lucas Oil Raceway, which was very awesome. And as we keep on saying, very different to Gateway. So kind of just for anybody who kind of knows about these races, like, can you take any learnings from that? Like, how comparable is that to racing at a place like Gateway, where it's a higher speed over, you're in a higher speed car? Like, what maybe have you learned from those races, which you can translate to Indy next, or is it just they're just completely different machinery?
I'd say the racecraft is fairly similar in the way that you drive that oval versus some ovals. Almost all oval racing is the same, where you kind of have to set up your moves before you do them. And Lucas Oil Raceway does a really good job at doing that, because sometimes it'll take you 12 laps to get the move done. You'll be side by side with the guy for 5, 10, 15 laps, and getting into that comfortability window where you're used to doing that is a big help. I think that's what Lucas Oil helped me with the most, is getting that racecraft kind of ready for the big ovals.
And we spoke about this last time, dizziness after doing laps and laps and laps on ovals. Were you fine at Gateway, or is there still a little bit of dizziness going on?
There's a little bit there. I'll say that. After the race, I stood up. I was like, "Ooh, okay, we can just take it a little slow. Let's go sit down on the tugger for a second." But I mean, it's nothing crazy where you feel like you're gonna fall over. It's just that like lightheaded, like, okay, let's take a seat for a second. Let's get our bearings back, and then we're good. We can go take a stroll.
And I know obviously you mentioned the Milwaukee test was a bit difficult, but coming off the back of Gateway, going into obviously Nashville as the next oval race, what did you kind of come away from Gateway thinking were the big things you'd quite like to improve upon after obviously it being your first overall race in Indy Next?
Qualifying pace needs to pick it up. That's, I'd say, our biggest struggle right now is doing that qualifying pace. And I think some of that's going to help with us getting the car into the window where I can do that in practice. And that's something we struggled a little bit with at Gateway. So I think just getting us into that window where we know the car is going to be good and I have the pace to go put down that top 10 time in qualifying is something that we need to practice and focus on.
So Milwaukee, you said that the team obviously had pace. That's reflected in the results.
Yeah.
2nd, 3rd, 7th, I believe. Obviously, you said that you struggled a bit. So what kind of felt off in the car maybe to you? What was it that you were maybe battling that your teammates weren't? Just talk a bit about what you've kind of basically taken away from that day.
I was struggling a pretty good bit with just like putting my foot down on the exit of corners. Like the rear was the traction was just a little bit loose, and I think we were struggling a little bit with that. I mean, that was something that was specific to me, not my teammates. So getting us to a point where we can trust that that car is gonna stay underneath me as I get back to that power coming out of the corner is, I think, where a really good chunk of our lap time is. And now obviously there's my driving that comes in a factor with that. But I think it's just kind of a mutual thing where we both need to get better in certain aspects to give us that push forward.
And there's this constant thing with people who don't know about racing who say, there's this debate about, is it a sport? Is it not? Obviously, we know it's very much a sport and it takes a lot kind of physically. You mentioned a lot about spending a lot of time in the gym or all of that. So I guess specifically on ovals, what kind of is the physical challenge? What do you need to build up? But just generally speaking as well, like just speak about all the physical work that goes into being ready, going beyond obviously all the studying of data and all of the other prep you have to do.
Honestly, it might be a little surprising, but the ovals, the kind of the leg strength that comes with the ovals, it kind of sounds a little bit weird, but I've noticed in like my first time when our first oval test was Nashville, that one was a little like I noticed I was like my right leg is getting like really tired because I mean it's flat. Like on a regular lap, you're flat. So I noticed that was something that we needed to improve on. But a lot of like shoulders and back and neck is also very helpful. So the injured shoulder doesn't exactly help us, but it doesn't also hurt us at the same time because we were turning left instead of right. But having a strong upper base as well as having an equal lower base is very important to keep yourself in that window where you can bang out those fast laps the entire race or whatever scenario you're in.
Don't worry if you can't answer this fully, but the shoulder injury, was it injured in an exciting way or a not very exciting way?
It was injured in Detroit, actually. We had a pretty big snap in the transition from 6 to 7, which caught us off guard kind of because I was, I think, like building a gap behind traffic, or there was some sort of traffic and no pedal inputs, just kind of rolling through the corners, and had a big snap and then got a lot of grip and the wheel just kind of yanked my shoulder out. And we had a dislocated shoulder that ended up tearing some muscles in the left shoulder. So it's suboptimal for sure, but we've gotten the green light from IndyCar to finish the season. So that's good. But I think at some racetracks, it's just going to be a little bit of a fatigue thing.
So I guess 3.5 weeks on now, how is it? What sort of rehab recovery stuff are you actually kind of having to go through, and what's the plan there?
So we've been doing a lot of PT stuff and kind of like shoulder rehab between cold and heat therapy and some like pressure therapy as well, just to kind of get the muscles around it like in a better shape, like more relaxed, not as tense all the time, or not as much fatigue in those muscles kind of thing, just to support that shoulder in keeping it into a window where we can finish the season in a strong way. But we are going to be getting surgery in the off season. I have a labrum tear, so that's not the best, but I've had this like partial labral tear for the past 2 years, and now that dislocation kind of just said, okay, that's like the final straw. Like, we need to get it fixed now. So we will be having roughly a 4-month recovery window in the off season. So that will be something that we're going to work hard towards, and to get that shoulder back to full strength as quickly as possible for off season testing, maybe trying to drive some other race cars and just getting ready for the season. So that's going to be big for us. But the current stuff is just PT and rehab and trying to keep everything around it strong to finish out the season in a good way.
Let's look to the rest of the season. Firstly, I cannot believe we're 10 rounds out of 17 through. Where is the time?
It's wild. Yeah, right? Like, I'm looking at the calendar. I'm like, we're halfway through the season. Like, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah, we've got, what, 4 or 5 rounds left? It's like,
yeah.
I don't know where the time's gone. Anyway, let's not wish it away. We've spoken about kind of the improvements you kind of generally seem to be making weekend to weekend, but to kind of improve those further, what work do you think you need to do most come these last 7 races to elevate your performance even further?
I think a lot of it is just going into and like diving deep into that video and transferring that to something like the sim, just to get that practice and get that feeling of what it's like to push that car as hard as it can go, and keeping it there for the sustained duration of the run that we're on. So I think that's something that we need to, but a lot of it has been getting a lot better, obviously, as the results have been getting better. But I think there's just we're missing just that little bit of an edge, and we need to get there and show that true pace that we have.
And when you kind of do stuff like watching video, how do you kind of compute all of the things that you're spotting? Do you kind of write stuff down? Do you kind of just have a mental memory bank of everything? Kind of what's the process when you're doing that? Because obviously we hear a lot of drivers, it's just a natural thing they do is watch a lot of video. So
yeah,
how do you process it all?
I'm a big visual guy, so using that video, I'm able to get a pretty good representation in my head of what that would look like when I'm doing it on track. So that's been helpful. Now stuff like post session stuff, I'll write my feedback down and what I think I did right and wrong and stuff like that, and we'll compare it to the video, and then I'll go through and then I'll do some visualization stuff to actually visualize what it would be like for me to be doing that. So a lot of it's the visual aspect of it, but there is some note taking and stuff like that goes along with it.
And I guess looking back to the very start of this year, what were some of the foundations that you did kind of want to lay in this rookie season? And I guess compared to those foundations that you wanted to set in this kind of first year, how far along the line do you feel you are at this point where we are? Yeah, obviously over the halfway mark now.
A big thing that I wanted to kind of instill in my driving this year was consistency, because consistency is a hard thing to kind of to teach somebody that might be coming up through racing or something like that. So I've kind of been a little proudful of the consistency that I've had throughout my racing career. Now the pace obviously isn't exactly fully there, but when we do a lap, we're able to, like, if I'm asked to do that again, I can do that again. And it's something that has been good. So when we get to that pace where we're fighting for top fives and podiums, I think it's going to be something that we're going to be able to recreate on a frequent occasion. So that's good. That's been something I've been very happy with. But I will say I'm a little bit behind what I was hoping for at this point of the season. I was hoping to kind of be around the consistent like 10 to 12 range. Now we have the pace for it. It's just a matter of doing it. So that's, I think, what we're working on the most, and kind of wishing we were in a little bit of a better spot with that.
But I guess in your rookie season, like, how much do you kind of balance results versus just gaining experience? Because ultimately, as you've gone through the ladder, you haven't had any second years in series, hence, you're just learning on the go effectively. So kind of when you look at the season as a whole, kind of what do you want more of? Results, gaining experience to go into future years, kind of, and how much do results concern you at kind of this point in the season?
I mean, honestly, results aren't too much of a concern. It's more so that just like my competitive nature is like, okay, I want to see myself further up, because I think they kind of go hand in hand between building a better foundation and gaining that speed versus showing that on the results. So I think it's kind of a happy medium between both of them. Now, yeah, I wish we were higher up on the results page, but our pace is picking up, I think, at a pretty quick rate. So I'm happy with the rate of change that's going with. So it's like a kind of like a happy medium between both.
Okay, let's pivot away from racing completely. World Cup's on in America. Have you been watching? Are you a soccer guy? You get engaged in it at all? You are? Fine.
I have been watching some of the World Cup stuff. I got to watch a very brief bit of the U.S. versus Australia when we were in Road America. So I got to watch a little bit of that, but I've been keeping up on kind of what each bracket is looking like and the pools and stuff like that. So I've been following some of that stuff, but not too much of watching. I think I've only watched like 2 or 3 games, but I've been keeping track of kind of the stats of everything. That's kind of like my thing with sports is I like to track the statistics of like who's doing good, who's doing bad, who's in a slump, who's not, kind of thing.
Do you have like a favorite player? Like could be USA, non-team USA.
I have been a Messi kid since I was like 7 years old, so I'm probably gonna have to give a nod to Lionel Messi. Back when I played soccer for like 12 years or something like that. So I'll give a nod to Messi on that one. But I mean, there's a lot of incredible soccer players in the World Cup. It's hard to kind of pick who's your favorite because you'll see guys that come and show out, or you'll see guys who are kind of in a slump. So I'm gonna say Messi. Just it's like a generic fan favorite, but I mean he's like the best there ever is. So you kind of got to give a nod to the guy.
Did you have a certain position you played when you played soccer? What was your kind of?
I was a striker.
Ooh. Nice.
I was a striker. I was always kind of that fast little kid, not super tall or big or anything, but I was really fast. So that was kind of how I played the game, and I think I played that a little bit of defense as well when I was a kid. So.
It's quite interesting because where the Indy Next grid is just so multicultural. I found it in like Beaton was representing Australia, obviously the shirt. I mean, that didn't pan out too well. Tudio seems to be the biggest Argentina football fan in the entire planet.
Yeah.
So I guess there's a lot of competitiveness going on currently between everybody as their teams kind of work out where they are.
Yeah, for sure. I know Statty and Beaton have been rooting for Australia. They've been telling me all about it. So. I know how big of fans they are with it, but yeah, I mean, it's just I have a hard time kind of sitting still. So sitting down and watching stuff like that sometimes is a little tough for me. So that's where I lack a little bit. But obviously, I got to root for the U.S. I mean, home country, I got to root for them.
So your struggles sitting down still aside, are you actually a fan of any other sports in that case, or kind of what floats your boat, so to speak?
I'm big on hockey and football, specifically college football. Like,
nice.
That's like the only sport that I can sit down and watch the entire game of, even if it's a team I'm not rooting for. Like, I love college football. I think the guys in college, they play with so much more fire than the NFL guys, because kind of the way I look at it is the college guys are trying to make it there. The NFL guys are there. So they're obviously still trying to chase their dream, as opposed to some of the NFL guys take a little bit of edge off their play because they're already in their established kind of organization. They've already found their footing. So college football, I'll hype up all day. That's like my favorite sport on the planet.
What teams do you support? College football, hockey? Give us a list of the teams that you're supporting.
College football, I got 3. University of Southern California.
Well,
okay.
On the UK.
No, yeah, okay. I got a reason for 3 though.
Okay.
So the 2 schools I've gone to, Boise State and Arizona State, I got to root for those. And then my dad brainwashed me when I was a kid. I'm a University of Southern California fan, so I got to root for them as well. But I mean, I've got some buddies at some schools. I'll like root for their teams if they're playing, but like I'll root for my brother's college, Baylor. When they're playing, unless they're playing my schools, I'll tell them to kick rocks. But hockey, like the Los Angeles Kings, I'm a big fan of as well. So,
is that just like a family thing, or is there any other reason that you've supported
family?
them?
Yeah, family's from Southern California, so the only one that doesn't really fit in. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. I get so much crap for it. And
Arlington must have been really cool for you, though.
It was awesome, yeah, because I have a lot of family that's in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. That's kind of like where a lot of my blood is. So, or I should say is from. But that was an awesome race. I got some family got to come out to that race that doesn't usually get to come to my races, so that was cool. But, yeah, I mean, kind of, I'll cover the big four sports besides basketball. I don't really watch basketball too much, but yeah.
England played their first World Cup game at the Cowboys Stadium. So I was there telling all my friends while we were in the pub, oh my God, IndyCar had a race around here and IndyX had a race around here. They were like, yeah, don't care.
That stadium is so cool. I love that stadium.
It is cool. But like I was having, like, we always make this remark about how like over in the UK, never see any IndyCar merchandise or anything anywhere.
Really?
But I'll put this out here so it's on the podcast. I was walking around Salzburg in Austria yesterday, see a Pato Indy 500 jersey. It was
all right.
I just thought
there
podcast listeners should know that. Cool.
You should spell merch range. Get people from England to buy your merch, Carson.
I need to get merch in the first place. I have none. I've thought about it, but I don't know. I just haven't really done it.
I've got to say, it's a shame we don't have an English person in the Indy NXT paddock to root in England. There's a lot of an IndyCar, but none in the Indy NXT paddock. Seb Murray's the wrong side of the border, so.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, Scotland.
Oh, so, got it. Yeah.
Yeah, wrong side.
I'm honestly surprised that there isn't. Like, is there even any in USF?
Well, no, well didn't represent in America instead of the UK.
Yeah.
So we lost one there. I don't think there is. Oh, Liam McNeely was there last year. I don't know if he's still around.
Yeah.
He might be Scottish, though, actually.
I don't know. I think he had a UK flag on.
Yeah, but the problem is UK, you divide it into Scotland, England, Wales, which is where it gets confusing. So they might be from the UK, but Scottish. But this is where it gets ridiculously confusing, and we'll save your time.
Way over my pay grade, dude. I'm not amazed with geography outside of the US, so...
I know we mentioned it earlier about autograph sessions. I just wanted to kind of follow up. Have you had any weird things happen in autograph sessions so far this year? Any funny fan interactions? Any more weird gifts or anything? One question I do like to ask is, have you signed anything weird?
Signed anything weird? I signed a cookie. That was kind of weird.
I hope I didn't eat it.
Yeah, me too, because I feel like that would kind of be a health hazard. But I think it was at St. Louis. I signed a cookie, the bottom of a cookie. I was like, she pulled out a cookie. She's like, do you want a cookie? I was like, oh, no, I'm okay. Thank you. She's like, can you sign it? I was like the wrapper. She goes, no, the cookie. I was like, sure.
Wow.
Like,
that is pretty weird.
Yeah.
What are you doing with that?
I don't know. Like, because if you don't put it in anything, it's going to go bad. But if you eat it, that's like probably not good for your health. So I don't really know about that one. I mean, I don't say I've gotten some weird stuff. I'd say I've gotten some stuff that has caught me off guard. I got some crystals from some fans, which kind of seemed to be working, to be honest, kind of throwing me for a loop. Didn't really expect it to, but I will say it has been working. Yeah, I got some crystals at St. Louis, and then I just got some more at Road America. So that was kind of cool. But they seem to be working, so they're going to stay in my locker, I guess.
Well, if anyone's going to an autograph session later on the year who's listening, more catch Carson off guard. Let's continue this trend.
Bring in some wild stuff. I'm here for it. I'm good with it. Like, whatever keeps me entertained, I'm all good with that.
Talking of keeping you entertained, is there a driver in autograph sessions who you'd love to sit next to, or like just generally who's like the class clown of the internet's grid who we need to keep an eye out for in case they ever come on the show?
Beaton's pretty funny.
Yes, that would have been my prediction.
He's a pretty funny dude. Garcia's pretty funny as well when you kind of get him out of his shell. He's a little bit younger, so he's not as loud and vocal as some of the rest of us. But I mean, there's a ton of really good dudes in the Indy NXT field. So you kind of take your pick, honestly, and you're going to get a good dude on.
Because you're all generally pretty close. Like I know in Indianapolis, we saw you a lot of people. Josh Pearson told us the other week that you just generally all train with each other. So I guess you're kind of racing your mates a lot of the time in many ways. Because you grow up with it, don't you, from karting, etc., going through the ladder.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say I'm friends with probably 3/4 of the field. Like, yeah, it's like one of those things. It's like, yeah, I'll be friends with you off track, but on track, I'm your competitor. I'm not going to treat you like a friend. I'm going to treat you as a guy I'm racing against. So keeping that as a mutual understanding is kind of important, like not to change how you're driving because you're friends with them off track. But I mean, like I'm friends with a ton of the guys. So I don't even really know who I'm not friends with, to be honest. I'd say there's more that I am than I'm not. So, yeah, I think we're all pretty sociable with each other.
That's a nice dynamic. So
yeah,
just to finish off, Mid-Ohio next up, kind of what are you looking out for? What are your hopes for there? What are you expecting? Just a little bit of a preview of another doubleheader weekend, of course.
And that's a physical track for sure. So that one's going to be a physical, like, endurance race almost. Like, you got to like last through the whole weekend. Historically, that's the track I'm the fastest at. So I'm hoping for a pretty good result there. And testing was kind of a good groundwork for that. We tested there a little while back. So hopefully we've got a good foundation there. Cars seems to be in a pretty good window, and I think it can only get better. So I think we're going to find some speed there and have some good results.
Carson, it's been great to catch up with you again. We're not quite in Indianapolis Motor Speedway this time, but you never know. Maybe another year we'll get back there. But once again, thanks for catching up with us. I'm sure we'll catch up with you probably after Nashville or Portland sometime, which should be awesome. And yeah, thanks once again. Great stories. And the listeners out there, more weird gifts for Carson.